It was a scorching afternoon in Ouagadougou, the heart of Burkina Faso, where the sun beat down on the vibrant market. Stalls overflowed with colorful fabrics, ripe mangoes, and the chatter of vendors haggling with customers. President Ibrahim Traoré, dressed in a simple white shirt to blend in, walked through the crowd after an unannounced visit to a nearby community center. His security team trailed closely, eyes scanning the bustling scene. But something made him pause. A small figure crouched near a pile of discarded fruit crates. A boy no older than 10 sat in the dust. His clothes were tattered, his bare feet caked with dirt, and his eyes, wide and weary, darted nervously as he scavenged for bruised mangoes dropped by careless shoppers. In his hands, he clutched a crumpled piece of paper, worn at the edges. Ibrahim's heart sank. Those eyes. They carried a story heavier than any child should bear. "Wait here," he told his security chief, his voice firm but quiet. The team hesitated, but Ibrahim's gaze silenced their protests. He approached the boy, kneeling to meet him at eye level. The market's noise seemed to fade as passers-by glanced curiously, unaware of who he was. "What's your name?" Ibrahim asked gently. The boy froze, clutching the paper tighter. "Amadou," he whispered, barely audible. "Amadou," Ibrahim repeated, his voice warm. "Why are you alone here?" Amadou's eyes dropped to the ground, his small frame trembling. I don't have anyone," he mumbled. "My parents, they're gone." Ibrahim's chest tightened. He glanced at the paper in Amadou's hands, a crude drawing of a man, a woman, and a boy, sketched in charcoal. "Is this your family?" he asked. Amadou nodded, his voice breaking. "It's all I have left." Ibrahim took a deep breath, his mind racing. "Come with me," he said, standing and extending a hand. Amadou hesitated, fear flickering in his eyes. "I won't hurt you," Ibrahim assured him. "You don't have to be alone anymore." Minutes later, they were in Ibrahim's car, Amadou clutching his drawing as the city blurred past. The boy's silence spoke volumes, but Ibrahim didn't press. At the presidential residence, he ensured Amadou was given a warm bath, clean clothes, and a plate of jollof rice with chicken. The boy ate cautiously, as if afraid the food would vanish. Ibrahim sat across from him, watching quietly. "Amadou," he said softly once the boy finished, "tell me your story." Amadou's eyes met Ibrahim's, then fell to the table. "3 years ago," he began, "there was a flood in my village, near Dori. The river took our house, my parents." His voice cracked. "I was at school when it happened. When I came back, they were gone. My uncle took me in, but he said I was a burden. He sent me away last year. I've been in the market since, finding food where I can." Ibrahim's jaw clenched. "No child should live like that," he said, his voice steady but laced with anger at the injustice. "What do you want most, Amadou?" The boy's eyes lit up faintly. "To go to school," he said. "I want to learn, to draw better, to be someone." Ibrahim leaned forward, his gaze unwavering. "You are someone, Amadou, and I'm going to help you." That night, Amadou slept in a soft bed, the first in years, his drawing tucked under his pillow. Ibrahim, meanwhile, sat in his office, the weight of the boy's story heavy on his mind. He remembered his own childhood, struggles, dreams, and the teachers who believed in him. This boy deserves a chance, he thought, picking up his phone to make arrangements. The next morning, Amadou woke to the smell of fresh bread and tea. A kind-faced woman, one of Ibrahim's staff, smiled at him. "The president has plans for you today," she said. Amadou's heart raced with a mix of hope and fear. What does tomorrow bring? After a medical checkup and a haircut that left Amadou barely recognizing himself in the mirror, Ibrahim took him to a modest building on the city's edge, a small cream-colored house with a neat garden and a shady mango tree. Amadou's eyes widened. "Whose house is this?" he asked. "It's yours," Ibrahim said, smiling. "A place to call home." Amadou's mouth fell open. "Mine? But I'm nobody." "You're Amadou," Ibrahim said firmly, "and this is just the start." Inside, the house was simple but warm. A bed, a desk, a small kitchen, and a shelf with books and art supplies. Ibrahim explained, "You'll live here with a guardian, Madame Awa, a teacher who's agreed to care for you. You'll start school next week at École Lumière, one of the best in the city, and I've set up a fund to cover your education until you finish. Amadou's hands trembled as he clutched his drawing. Why are you doing this? He whispered, tears brimming. Because I see you, Ibrahim said, his voice thick with emotion, and I believe in you. Weeks passed and Amadou's life transformed. At École Lumière, he dove into his studies, his pencil always moving, sketching scenes of markets, rivers, and families. His teachers noticed his talent, especially in art. One day he entered a regional art contest, pouring his heart into a drawing of a man in a white shirt kneeling beside a boy in a market, sunlight glowing around them. He titled it, Hope Found Me. When the results came, Amadou's name echoed through the school's auditorium. He'd won first place. The prize was a scholarship and art supplies, but what meant more was the certificate dedicated to President Ibrahim Traoré, the man who gave me a future. The audience erupted in applause as Amadou, now clean and confident, walked to the stage, his eyes shining. Word of Amadou's story spread. The community began calling him the boy from the market, a symbol of hope. One afternoon, Ibrahim visited the school, where Amadou ran to him, holding up his winning drawing. This is for you, he said, voice trembling. You're like a father to me. Ibrahim hugged him tightly, his own eyes misty. You're like a son to me, Amadou. Inspired by Amadou's journey, Ibrahim announced a new initiative, the Hope for Tomorrow program, aimed at supporting orphan children across Burkina Faso with homes, education, and mentors. One child's story can change many, he told the crowd at the program's launch, Amadou standing proudly beside him. Months later, Amadou was no longer the boy from the market. He was a student, an artist, a dreamer with a future. One evening, under the mango tree in his garden, he sketched a new drawing, a family not just of blood, but of kindness, with Ibrahim's face among them. Madame Awa smiled as she watched. You've come far, Amadou, she said. He looked up, his smile bright. Because someone stopped to see me. Across the city, whispers of Amadou's story inspired others. Children who once scavenged now dreamed of school. Families who'd lost hope began to believe again. And in the market where it all began, vendors spoke of the president who didn't just lead a nation, but lifted a child from the dust. Amadou's life was proof. No matter how lost you feel, one act of kindness can rewrite your story. The choice to rise is yours. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Thank you for watching.